I'm very disappointed.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm very disappointed, and not in both sides.
Yeah, not
honestly.
one side or the other. I haven't really taken sides. It's just the whole thing is very disappointing.
And I will say that I'm extremely disappointed that we are in this position.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. just revealed something that shocked even him. During the big NASCAR lawsuit trial, secret text messages came out showing that NASCAR leaders were actually worried about a small racing series called SRX, and Dale Jr. couldn't believe it. Let me give you some background first. In August 2024, most NASCAR Cup teams signed a new charter agreement. Charters are like special passes that let teams race and share in NASCAR's money. But two teams said no. Michael Jordan's 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports refused to sign. They wanted something NASCAR wouldn't give them. They wanted permanent charters that would last forever, kind of like owning a franchise in the NFL or NBA. So these two teams did something big. They sued NASCAR and its boss, Jim France. The trial started in December, and that's when things got really interesting. During the trial, lawyers shared private text messages and documents that showed what NASCAR leaders were really thinking. And one of those things was about SRX. Now, here's where Dale Jr. comes in. He has a podcast called The Dale Jr. Download, and he talked about what he learned from the trial. When he found out NASCAR was worried about SRX, he was totally surprised. I gotta be honest, this shocked me, Dale Jr. said on his podcast. He explained that his friend Ray Evernham started SRX to bring back something called IROC, which was a fun racing series from years ago.
Big conversation around SRX. And I gotta be honest. Look, this shocked me. I want to say that look, I'm a big fan, and I think I'm a good friend with Ray Evernham.
The idea was simple. Get retired drivers, bring them to local racetracks, add some interesting people from different types of racing, and let a local hero drive too. Dale Jr. thought it sounded cool, but he also admitted he wasn't really into it.
Out of the gate, I just didn't have the bandwidth I didn't get into it.
I watched it. I liked it.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan.
Yeah.
I didn't really watch too much of it.
He made it clear he wasn't trying to insult anyone who liked SRX or worked there. He just personally wasn't interested. And that's what made NASCAR's worries so strange to him. SRX was tiny. They only had 12 cars. They were struggling to pay their bills.
And they were like, there's 12 cars, right? They're just barely getting by financially. They're tearing up so much. They had no idea he's going to tear up all that.
Yeah.
The series eventually shut down because it cost too much money to run and not enough people watched it on TV. So why would NASCAR care? Well, during the trial, NASCAR President Steve O'Donnell explained. He said SRX started looking more and more like NASCAR when Cup Series drivers and their sponsors began showing up to race. NASCAR's legal team even looked into whether they could do anything about it, but the lawyers said no, there was nothing wrong with what SRX was doing. Then something else happened that made NASCAR more nervous. An executive from NBC Sports named Sam Flood called NASCAR and basically asked why NBC was paying so much money for NASCAR if they could get something similar with SRX for cheaper. That really got NASCAR's attention. The most interesting part came from secret text messages between NASCAR leaders from June 2022. Steve O'Donnell, Jim Phelps, and a guy named Scott Prime were texting each other about their worries. O'Donnell wrote, "Wait until Junior says he is running an event. Matter of time. They will go to North Wilkesboro with Junior if we are not careful. We need to be the first back." Scott Prime agreed and said, "North Wilkesboro and Bowman Gray next year with Junior and friends if we don't make moves." Then O'Donnell suggested combining races at both tracks for the All-Star event. They were basically planning to beat SRX to these old race tracks. Dale Jr. had a lot to say about this.
You know, I am surprised by some of the comments that I read from from O'Donnell and a couple other people about, man, we got to put an end to this, or we got to go take a look at this. And
again, to me, it's such a little piece of the pie.
Yeah, why are we worried?
I think he just didn't get it. NASCAR is huge. SRX was tiny. Why worry? If Dale Jr. had been in charge, he would have done things differently. I never saw, no disrespect, but I never would have worried or considered SRX a problem, he explained. Instead, he would have looked at what SRX was doing right and asked if NASCAR could work with them somehow. He also noticed that SRX changed over time. Cup drivers like Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, and Ryan Blaney started racing there, but they had good reasons. Chase went to race with his dad and have fun. Ryan Blaney did the same thing. They got paid a little money and had a good time with their families. Now let's talk about North Wilkesboro. This old racetrack became part of NASCAR's worries too. The text messages showed NASCAR wanted to get there before SRX could do an event with Dale Jr. And guess what? North Wilkesboro came back to the Cup Series schedule in 2023. Bowman Gray Stadium got added in 2025. But Dale Jr. wanted to make something clear. NASCAR didn't bring North Wilkesboro back. North Wilkesboro came back because of Marcus Smith, he said. Marcus Smith runs Speedway Motorsports, and he's the one who fixed up the track. The state of North Carolina helped pay for it too. Dale Jr. explained that NASCAR didn't push for Wilkesboro to come back. When Marcus Smith told them the track was ready, NASCAR just said okay and added it to the schedule. NASCAR never was going, guys. We got to get Wilkesboro going, Dale Jr. said. He wanted people to know who really deserves credit. The government, our local government, and the town, a lot of volunteers. 20 years of volunteers, people just keeping the grass mowed for 20 years, he said. These people kept the track in good enough shape that it could even be considered for racing again. They should be the ones getting praise. Dale Jr.'s sister Kelly said her brother deserved credit too. He helped get the Cars Tour involved at Wilkesboro. He drove in a race there that brought 20,000 fans, and this was before NASCAR even scheduled the All-Star race. The event was called Racetrack Revival, and Dale Jr.'s star power definitely helped make it successful, even though he didn't want to take credit for it. So why did all this information come out now? Because of the lawsuit. When the two teams sued NASCAR, lawyers had to share documents and messages. That's how everyone learned about NASCAR's SRX worries. And here's the ending to that lawsuit story. Just 2 days after Dale Jr. talked about all this on his podcast, NASCAR settled the case. The two holdout teams got what they wanted. All charters are now permanent. They last forever. This is huge for NASCAR. Dale Jr. had actually predicted this might happen. If the charter remains nothing more than a guaranteed entry into a single event, I think then values remain where they are today, he said. But if charters become permanent, like franchises, their value shoots way up. A charter worth $25 million could suddenly be worth $150 million. If that happens, there is no going back. Like, it changes the sport forever, Dale Jr. warned. Now, NASCAR basically has 36 franchises. These charters will be bought and sold between owners for decades, maybe even centuries, and it creates a huge barrier for anyone new trying to get into the sport. For 75 years, anyone could build a Cup car and show up to race. You probably wouldn't do well against the regular teams, but you could try. That'll be gone forever, Dale Jr. said.
That'll be gone forever.
This affects him personally, too. He owns JR Motorsports and wants to race in Cup someday, but now it's going to be much harder and more expensive to get in. His team thought about buying a charter years ago when they only cost $1 million, but they didn't do it. Now, those same charters might be worth over $100 million. The whole situation is kind of ironic when you think about it. NASCAR was worried about a tiny series with 12 cars that couldn't even make enough money to survive. But while they were worried about that, they were also heading toward a massive change in how their own sport works. The lawsuit revealed NASCAR's concerns about SRX, but it also changed NASCAR forever by making charters permanent, and Dale Jr. saw it all coming.